special edition FRL from the floor of the NCAA Arena here at Wells Fargo Arena. To my right, UNI head coach Doug Schwab. To the left, Shane Sparks. We're going to have a lot of energy on the show today. So excited to sit with both of you. First off, starting with you, Coach Schwab. Been watching your guys getting ready. Parker came in here a couple hours ago, was doing his little yoga routine. Yep. Just how ready are you guys feeling for the NCAA tournament?
I mean, we got a lot of momentum moving in, from the Big 12 tournament. I think we competed very well as a team, and I think there's a lot of evidence that we've improved throughout the season. So, I mean, to me, it's just like it just keeps rolling, into this NCAA tournament and keeping everything same. So, you talk about Parker coming in the morning, that's his normal routine. So we're trying to stick to our normal routine, and that's worked all year, so we're just not going to change anything right now.
Shane, what do you remember about Parker Keckeisen as he was a high school wrestler in Wisconsin? What did you remember? What was your first memory of Parker?
My first memory is, this about me, Christian, I'm a stickler on names. So Parker Keckeisen wrestled Division I. I would go to the Division I weigh-in, and I would talk to every wrestler personally and get the name. So I heard it right from him. How do you say your name? Keckeisen. Say it again. Keckeisen. One more time. I made sure I got that name right, but he was a hammer. I mean, what he's done, it's amazing. I think Coach Schwab, what you guys have done at Northern Iowa is exceptional, phenomenal season for you guys. And but yeah, Parker Keckeisen, one of those main guys, and he is such a pillar and a great representative of that program. I mean, when I think about Northern Iowa, I'm sure you would that's the kind of guy you want.
Yeah, I mean,
you'd take 10 of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, people keep kind of talking about his career, and it's not finished yet, but I mean, talk about leaving our program in a better place, just raising the platform and consistency. I mean, when you're third, second, first, but the consistency of every day and how he goes about his work, and all our guys see that. I mean, like I said, we couldn't have a better guy, and like he's the best UNI wrestler in our modern history, and it's not even a question. And I know he doesn't like me saying those things, but it's just the truth.
When you talk about consistency, peel the onion back a little bit. Give me 2 or 3 examples of his consistency.
Every day he's 15, 20 minutes more than everyone else. Every day, not once in a while. I mean, his lifts, he doesn't enjoy his lifts, but he wants to stay healthy. Every day. And that's what I'm saying. EFD, that's what I've been telling our team, and you guys can figure out what that means, but every day. and that's what he does. And it's not a surprise how he competes and is able to compete like he is and at the level that he is. You just got to see it every day to really be like, okay, because, I know guys are like, hey, I'll put my 24 hours against your 24 hours. He'll put his 24 hours against anybody.
Yeah. With someone like Parker, obviously the team impact of him on the mat is huge. He wins every match he wrestles, big sport. What is the overall impact just on a team of just being around him every single day? What is that? How have you seen that affect the team?
Well, I think it's a roadmap, right? Like, hey, here's if you do this, good things are going to happen. If you consistently do this, these things are going to happen. Now, I think it's also like, okay, am I willing to do that every day? And I think every guy's got to ask themselves that. Am I willing to do that every day? And some guys have tried to stay with him, but just, man, when your best and most credentialed athlete is also bought into your pillars of your program of being coachable, being gritty and selfless and pointing the finger at themselves, when that guy's doing that, it just makes my job so much easier because it's like, well, don't take my word for it, take Parker's word for it.
Yeah.
Like in the climate of college wrestling and just college sports in general right now, everyone's like, well, why wouldn't he just leave? Why wouldn't he go somewhere else? Like, relationships matter to him. Consistency matters to him. And progress matters to him. So those things that the values that he's had since growing up, and I don't know, that's what I'd look for when I recruit guys. There's certain values that I look for, and maybe a lot of coaches don't look at. They're only looking at wrestling. There's a lot of great wrestlers out there, but there's other certain intangibles that have to be intact for me to want, and I think them to fit at UNI too.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw the clip. The clip went viral a little bit. I think maybe I was.
You said that.
Okay,
yeah.
So what? So you took exception to me saying you're the little engine that could. Why?
Because I got a big chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to find it and use it in a way that's beneficial, because if that's all you do and then you're just going around and you want to fight everybody, like, I'm trying to mix it and match it, because like I know deep down the core of who I am and what I'm after and how I'm trying to get these guys to really trust themselves as people, and trying to go more towards love. But sometimes you need a little bit of rocket fuel. And some of those things are a little bit of rocket fuel. Okay, you think that? And you can take, like I said, you can take exception to anything you want. You can take it any way you want. And I take it that way. I've taken that way a long time. And it's probably being a little brother. You know, I mean, I got 2 older brothers that could do it whatever they want to me. And I think the chip on your shoulder is really good when it doesn't become the only thing that you use. It's just sometimes like it just spurs you on a little bit.
All right. Well, if I can be a little rocket fuel, I don't, man. I mean, it's a compliment, you know. I think, you know, I feel like you guys kind of carry yourselves like, you know, hey, we don't have the X, Y, and Z, but we can still produce at an incredibly high level. And that's maybe all I was implying.
No, I know. But like again, like you try to use little things. I mean, if you go back to Jordan, you watch that Last Dance, you know, I mean, it's like he would find anything. And for me, like for some of our guys, that doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to find the guys that does work, and it works for me, but I can't let it go overboard.
Right.
If that totally consumes me, then I think you get bitter. You get all those things that, you know, to me, where the other place I was at, that's kind of what we did, and that's all we focused on, and I don't think that's healthy.
Awesome. Well, Coach, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just your overall thoughts and excitement level every time you come to the NCAA tournament. You've been coaching here for a while now. How excited do you get for these 3 days?
I mean, it's calm before the storm, right? I mean, because, and I tell the guys, like, it's, you know, when we warm up, we ramp up. You're on the hole, you're on deck, and then you're on the mat. Like, we can't be redlining the whole time. And I can't either, you know. So, I mean, I try to go do some things throughout the day. If I go get groceries, like, it just keeps me busy and keeps me kind of consumed, you know, because the work's really done. You know, now it's kind of staying level and being consistent myself and how I went about my days. So I won't be any different towards the guys, and you know, hopefully they won't be any different. All I know is whatever Shane's drinking, I need some of that though. I don't know what.
Not too much of it. Well, I don't have anything else for you, Coach. You got any questions for Coach before we let him go?
I just love listening to your message to your team, following you guys on social media. I mean, it fires me up.
Yeah.
I mean, I get fired up listening to you, and I love watching the way the guys compete for you. I mean, you have made a big impact, and I like watching you, Doug, just the way that you've kind of, like you said before, I mean, there's a time to be this. Sometimes you got to take your foot off the gas, and it's just fun watching you run the program. So go get it and fill it.
Yeah, and he's not even allowed to say that because you're not in the Big Ten, so he really means it.
But
he really means it.
Big Ten champ, Big Ten national champ.
Yeah, yeah. Last thing I'll say, you know, the team that we have, the connection that they have with each other, that's built over years. That's built over continuing to show up for each other, and that's not. I don't think you can just pluck somebody and have them in the system for 6 months and have that. I mean, it's real, and people feel that, and you know, and I know our guys know that's special, and they feel it, and they want to do something special this week as a group. I mean, I can tell you the goals that they set for themselves as a team, and there are a lot of behaviors and habits, and they've done those, and they got a couple more things to X off, and they've done a lot of them this year. So, you know, we got these next 3 days to X a couple more things off.
Awesome. Well, appreciate your time, Coach. Best of luck over these next 3 days. Can't wait to watch you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
Appreciate
a lot.
it,
You're a
fellas.
locomotive. Appreciate. Always great catching up with Sean. That's right. Big nuts. Big nuts. Oh man. Well, that was great.
He's great.
He
has done such a phenomenal job. He is such a great mix of, like I said before, just intensity, but he loves his guys. Culture's an overused word.
Yeah.
They have a culture
Absolutely.
at Northern Iowa.
Yeah,
no question.
Would never disagree with that. Amazing culture, and what they've been able to build over there is it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's not easy to do. I'm a trade. We're getting a swap-a-roo.
Not your singer, my singer.
What's up? Tyler's here. He's been behind the camera hiding.
That's right.
He got alphaed big time by Doug Schwab, but he's still here.
I was more than willing to give my spot up for him.
Yeah, that was cool. That was not planned at all.
No.
I texted. Well, it's funny. I only saw the quote of the big nuts thing. I didn't hear the video. And then I didn't know it was, he said something about Flow guys, and he said he got fired up. I just thought, he said we got big nuts. And then I didn't realize that it was me that it inspired that, and then he was actually kind of irritated by it. So I was like, okay, learning a lot. So I texted him yesterday, hey, you got time for an interview? He said yes. And then I guess he thought this was what it was. But
They just had a chip on their shoulder. I was talking to Lee Roper,
yeah.
and I think I made some kind of comment about Like, oh, you guys have had such a great year. Like, almost like they don't want to hear it anymore. Like,
Yeah.
they've arrived, no question about it. But it's like they don't want any like, they just want to be compared to greatness.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Not what they've gone through, the challenges they've had, and they've had some pretty remarkable to overcome them the way they have. But there is a standard there, and that's the standard is the standard.
Yeah.
End of story.
All right, this concludes Panther Train Radio Live. We're going to take a little focus. I'm sure we'll talk about some of the Panthers along the way. But Shane Sparks, as we're here before the NCAA tournament, your excitement level is actually higher than usual, which is you set a pretty high bar for excitement. But why are you so excited for this year's NCAA tournament?
Because I've said this a long time. Everything's unpredictable. It's hard to win matches.
Still,
It's really unpredictable. I mean, I think you guys would agree. There's a couple weight classes where, yeah, maybe you'd predict a guy and you feel pretty good about it. A couple. I just don't remember a year where things were this wide open from an individual standpoint.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about it. Penn State, heavy favorite in 2020. You know, nobody's going to dispute that. But individual weight classes, as good as Penn State is, 4 number 1 seeds. I mean, if somebody told me right now, yeah, they get 6 champs, never been done, I'd believe you. If somebody said they get 1 champ, I'd believe you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think the individual storylines are why I'm especially, I would use the word intrigued. Like, I'm really curious to see how this plays out.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is a weird sort of revelation. I maybe a little slow to it, but wow, Penn State is this juggernaut, but there's not that many weights where you're feeling like it's locked in. And I think I've entered all these different pools and all these pick'em things. And
I got to ask you a question.
Okay.
I got to ask you a question
love
on the
it.
pools. And this is something I am big on.
Big pools
I don't
guy.
care if somebody's in 10 pools. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you better have the same bracket in all 10. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys have discussed that. If you're in 20 pools with the same brackets, and I know that's probably hard based on different,
Yeah.
different pools, but you got to have the same guys.
Okay.
Because we know Christian, Tyler, he'll be the guy going, I got this one. It's like, of course you got them all right, Christian. You're in 10 pools.
No, that's not me. No, so I mean, no, that's not how.
Although
I,
you put it out there
That's
on
not-
Flow at your
Yeah,
predictions.
yeah, we
I'll
put
give you
out
that.
a video.
I have an hour and a half of videos where I give all
Yes.
my 1 through round of 12. So I'm actually not that guy.
You're out there. You're right.
But what I do, I fill out every bracket, and then all these pools are different. Like some of them, like my favorite ones are the ones where like you have a budget to spend
Okay.
based on the seed. That's where it's like really fun for me. But then I'm in this Wrestle Madness one where it's like you fill out all your top side brackets. But my favorite pool, Lineup Legends. Do you know about this one? You should do
Lineup
this one.
Legends.
So
$10,000, right?
Up to 20.
Up to
There's
20.
extra questions at the end. You
Yeah.
could win up to $20,000.
Did you get a lot of extra credit in school, or were you just get it?
I had to have extra credit. I had to make up for some of the tests.
I hear you.
Absolutely, I did. Had to.
Yeah. I identify with that very strongly. No, so the way it works, Lineup Legends, free entry. Go to lineuplegends.com, click play, pick your 10 NCAA champions. You can win $10,000. Last year, the winner who won $10K only got 9 right. Only. I'm not going to get 9 right, probably. But
If
it's
you
there
think
to
you
be
can
done.
get 10 right, your chances of winning $10,000 or maybe 20 are pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty incredible. Make sure you're going to Lineup Legends. This show is brought to you by Lineup Legends.
Lineup Legends.
Lineup Legends
10K.
is here. They're putting money into the sport. We love companies that do that. So
Yes.
please support them. The link will be in the description of this podcast. And it's a fun way to both have fun
And win some cash.
and maybe win some cash. Yeah. So
my son is just into all this. He wanted to do. He's in a couple with me, but then he wanted to just do one-on-one. So we just went.
Oh, there you go.
We went 15 rounds snake draft, just going back and forth. So we'll see who wins.
Yeah, that's
It's like a
good.
duel.
That's good.
Yeah, he's dual meet fantasy one-on-one. So all right, what should we talk about, guys? I mean, we got every weight. It's all coming down to our.
Let
I
me throw this out there.
Yeah, throw it.
I'll just give you some little nuggets quick.
Okay.
That's what I need.
Because I love the streaks. That streak of Iowa, national finalist every year since 1990. Tom and Terry were 2 of the 3 guys. 34 straight tournaments with a finalist.
That's crazy.
34 straight. I think that's the craziest streak in college wrestling right now. We'll see if they can get to 35. And I think I don't make predictions, but I'm gonna. This is more. I just want to see it. 10 All-Americans.
Yeah.
Minnesota 2001. We're gonna see it in Philly.
10 All-Americans.
10 All-Americans.
So you think Penn State's going to do that this
I do.
year? I think
they're going to get the 10.
it's I think so too. I think.
What do you think's harder? No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't open that can of. We had this.
What's the question? What is it? I haven't heard this
CP
one.
hates this question.
So what's the
What do you
question?
think is harder, 5 NCAA champions or 10 All-Americans?
Gosh, that's a really
10 All-Americans is technically 10 eighth places. 5 NCAA champions is 5 firsts. That is harder.
But interestingly enough, is it 4 times?
It's happened more.
It's happened more.
So it's happened 4 times, only 10 All-Americans. I mean, you could
10 All-Americans has happened once, and 5
Yes.
champs has happened however many times.
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. But I would say, I mean, you could have 5 hammers. I mean, you got to have 10 guys that all 10 show up. I mean, I would probably lean on analytics on this one, just based on the history.
This is more a Manalytics vibe.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, 10,
Shane,
10 All-Americans. I'd
Shane,
love to see
I think
it.
we all agree with you, except for all the
So
guys
you
that
go
Flo
with the
agree with you,
5,
except for Christian.
5 champs.
Yeah.
Five
they're
harder.
they're
It's pretty.
both incredibly difficult.
Winning half the weights is crazy.
No, it's a fair argument.
No, you think it's easy.
I took us off. I took us off the rails, but
No, it's good. It's good. No, I like talking about that kind of stuff. The streaks.
That's a great question.
What's some other nuggets?
who do you think are Iowa's best shots at continuing the streak, and what
I mean,
are
I
the
think
obstacles?
you think. I mean, obviously, you go right to Ayala, Parco, Caliendo, Buchanan.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, those are the first 4. I mean, if I had to pick one, I've said this in the broadcast numerous times. Stephen Buchanan kept the streak alive in Detroit in 2022. Had to wrestle Jacob Warner. I'll be honest. I thought Buchanan was going to beat him.
Me too.
I'm like, the streak's going to come to an end. Warner beats Buchanan. I think that was 32 straight. It'd be cool if Buchanan kept the streak going. And then he was like, 2 of the
you
last
would have to beat
few
AJ
years.
Ferrari to do that, right?
He would have AJ Ferrari in the semis.
Yeah.
What do you think about AJ Ferrari?
I think he's really good.
Yeah.
I like AJ Ferrari. I had one encounter with him back in 2021. I really liked him. Hey, yeah, maybe some of the stuff he says from time to time, whatever. I mean, I don't sit and
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit and dwell on it.
Christian
but
is in his inner circle, so.
Oh yeah, there's no more name calling.
issues
I
with
mean,
AJ
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, I mean, everything's. You guys are great. I think he's. I will tell you this about AJ Ferrari. When AJ Ferrari takes the mat, I'm watching.
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching. I love
Yeah.
the splits and the 3 fingers. I remember 2021 in St. Louis, the flex. I like it because he's not disrespecting his opponents.
No.
Like, I think he's really good for the sport.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking he's going to have a great tournament.
The word was composure at Pac-12. Like
Composure.
He was
Yeah.
able to keep it, and if he can do it
And that
here, I think-
interview, what I liked about that interview was, you talk about honesty. He just gave you everything that he was
Yeah.
thinking.
he's been wandering through the desert like the Israelites.
And I love his, yeah, absolutely. I love the haircut. The haircut's looking good.
It's kind of it's probably in fashion now. I'm just behind, but like
Oh,
the, like
sure.
the mullet
Oh,
with
yeah.
the mustache,
He reminds me of a guy that in 25 years, there's going to be a guy that's, I'm 49, so late 40s. It's like, I remember going to college, or I remember being on the team with AJ Ferrari.
Yeah.
He's memorable. You'll never forget him.
Well, that's what I was gonna say when you said you remembered him or you met him in 2021. I was like, that's probably a moment you're not gonna forget.
Yeah, 2021. Met his, remember meeting his dad, really nice guy. It was just, again, going off my experience. That's all I got.
That's all you got.
But he's, I love the splits and the 3 fingers.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we see, when he's wrestling, everybody's going to be watching.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
doubt. No doubt.
Do you have any other nuggets, Shane? Any other? Because this guy does meticulous prep work.
Pretty obvious. Here for the first time since 2011.
we just got the lights cut off on us.
well, this is interesting for
It's a good thing that this is a podcast. It's more audio focused than anything.
Well,
That's true.
Also, people are working out, right? So
yeah, in the dark.
it's not as
Which is
safe.
good.
They playing the hype video.
Yeah.
But we can just keep going. This is part of the experience.
I'll give you a nugget. All right. Big Ten going for 18 straight.
Wow.
You hear that knocking on the door? Dad's home, guys. Dad's home.
What does that mean? Dad's
It's-
home. 18 years.
That story comes from Jim Gibbons and Dan Gable. Jim Gibbons would always talk about recruiting guys at Iowa State, feeling really, really good, putting in the time. Then it was like all of a sudden Dan Gable shows up. It's like Dad's home. You know? So, 18 straight. Minnesota began that streak in 07. Oklahoma State last non-Big Ten team to win in 06. Cale's first title here in 2011. Hard to believe that's 14 years ago. It was the first NCAAs I came to was 2011.
No kidding.
Yeah, first one I ever came to.
Wow.
Brian Hazard and I were doing the live sports radio with those little earpieces.
Live sports
and,
radio.
Robles, McDonough, Kellen Russell, I believe won a national title that year. That year,
Michigan
if I remember
man.
right, too.
Should have been Montel.
I think American University was 5th place.
It was that year. Yeah.
Yes.
They had the heavyweight.
The heavyweight. Flores? Was that his name?
Ryan Flores?
Yeah, I think so.
They had
Fittery was really good.
Steve Fittery. Was that a Josh Glenn year, or was he gone?
Gosh,
Mike Cannon.
We got the lights back.
They had a bunch of good
They had a
dudes.
really good team.
No, really good
American University.
Arizona State.
When I think of American, because I didn't start watching NCAAs until I was in like high school, and one of the first ones I watched was when Terrell was just popping off.
David Terrell.
That was awesome.
That was such a
he was
fun
tricky.
tournament for him. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was
from
David
Hawaii,
Taylor
right?
got pinned in 2011.
I know.
Bubba? Yeah, Arizona State
yeah.
had the 2 national
He
champs.
shut down the ankle bands.
Okay.
That was crazy. I remember I was telling them this yesterday. Like, I'm from Virginia, and my brother, he's not really a wrestling guy, but he watches it. I was with another wrestler that I coached in high school, and they were down. They met Bubba and, like, got to know him and, like, not partied with him, but, like, went to this, restaurant with him afterwards. I didn't go. I was like, I feel kind of weird. I kind of wanted David to win, and so I was like, I'm not going to that. But
that cradle.
that was wild. I mean, you want to talk about shocked. I thought going in, I thought David is going to massacre this guy. I really thought that. Just like the year Bubba had, the year David had. I mean, David was
Killing everybody.
everybody.
Yep.
Everybody.
But the way you're going to beat a guy like David Taylor, you're not going to take him down. You got to pin him. Yeah, I always give baseball
Gotta kill
analogies. If David Taylor is a starting pitcher, then you're not going to get 12 base hits off him. But you might hit a 450-foot home run, a hanging curveball. That's what happened.
That's what happened.
You know what else I remember about 2011? The epic John Reeder head wrap.
Yes.
Yep, that was 2011.
He beat Nick Amuchastegui in the finals.
From Stanford.
Yep. I remember that.
Gosh, he was really good. Amuchastegui was tough.
Yeah, he made the finals.
3-time All-American, maybe?
2-time finalist because he lost to Ruth in the
because
the next year.
he beat Ruth, right?
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Right here. Ed Ruth lost. Like right. down
Really?
that. Yes.
Oh wow.
He his knee locked up. It was kind of like, I think Ed got the first takedown, or maybe he didn't. He was scoring, and then Nick started scoring, and he got this.
Wait, so 2011, Ed Ruth didn't win a national title?
got third.
He got third.
Yeah, he got third. And then he got Amuchastegui the next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because him and David were in the same
Same
like,
year.
Ed
grades,
Ruth.
huh?
But remember who sealed it? Who locked it up for Penn State in
In
2011?
2011?
Yep.
Oh, it was a guy who took like 7th or something.
Was that
right?
James English, or am I wrong on the year?
That was 14.
That was 14.
Quentin Wright pinned Gwent Gambrell.
Oh.
Yeah.
That
Quentin
locked it
Wright.
up for him.
We lost the lights again.
That year, Quentin Wright was an 8 seed at the Big Tens.
And he was like
knocked off the number 1 seed Travis Rutt, won the Big Tens, came here. I mean, you talk about a guy that got hot in March. Quentin Wright,
That's what's up.
Yeah.
stud.
He was a beast.
What's the loudest you guys have ever heard in an NCAA venue?
Honestly, I'm curious for your answer. The loudest I ever remember was when Moisey pinned Gilman. That was like not hearing, it was feeling. It was so insane. I don't remember anything like
in
that.
St. Louis.
In St. Louis, that was crazy. Bubba, I felt like it was shock. It was like, oh, like kind of thing, but not like this craziness. I think people were more shocked. Another crazy moment. What are some for you?
I mean, that one, I remember with Gilman and Moisey. That was a big one. Gosh, I mean, I'm trying to think of some of that really stand
Ramos
out.
Lee was really loud.
See, I've only been to a few
Yeah,
NCAAs,
you're right.
so that's the first
Yeah.
one that comes to mind for me.
Ramos Lee was
Ramos
loud.
and Lee?
Yeah.
Yep. That was a crazy
Yeah,
one.
that was.
There have been some amazing moments. Trying to think of, I mean, Bo Nickel. Bo Miles. The noise didn't stand out to me.
Yeah,
like it
I
did
don't
Gil-
remember the noise. That was just such an epic match.
I mean,
with
it's
what was
the
on the line.
biggest match in NCAA history.
With what was at stake, I would agree.
I mean, this is the two of the greatest teams of all time. You know, really, when you think about it, there's never been. That's the greatest team race ever. We may never see another one
Bo
that
Nickel
good.
on your Mount Rushmore?
No,
Yeah, he's on mine.
probably not.
Of all
Well,
wrestlers?
what's yours?
Or-
But hold on.
Yeah.
Shane has 5 people on his
I
Mount
have
Rushmore.
5 people on my
no,
mountain.
you can't.
Yeah,
That's not a Mount
it's
Rushmore.
my mountain. I got 5
No, no,
heads.
no, no. It's not
Yeah.
Mount
It's
Rushmore.
his Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore. He
Yeah,
can make
okay.
it whatever he wants.
Well, then
Yeah.
I have 10. Then he's on mine because I have 100.
I mean, Bo Nickel to me was.
Then
I mean,
wait, so
give me
who's on
4.
your Mount Rushmore?
Give me your 4.
I'm going. I got to think about. I'm probably going Cale Sanderson.
Okay.
I mean, duh.
Yeah.
Right. Going Cale Sanderson.
This is for NCAA wrestlers.
NCAA.
Okay.
Cale Sanderson. Kyle Dake.
Okay.
Bo Nickel.
Okay.
And I'd feel much better saying this on Monday.
Okay.
Again, because things can happen.
Okay.
But if things play out the way I think they might, and again, who cares what I think? Gable.
Okay.
So no Dan Gable.
No Dan Gable.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Really?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
I guess he didn't win his last title.
One guy lost to Miles Martin. One guy lost to Larry Owings.
Larry Owings.
One guy lost to Nate Jackson. One guy lost to Larry Owings one time. Who's to say? And I'm not.
I mean, he's going to be right there, right? I mean, it's like
Sorry, Dan.
a top 10. I mean, a top 10 would be great, but yeah, for me, and a lot of it is real simple. I never watched him. I've never seen. He was a little bit before my time. I mean, heck, lost in what 1970. I was born in '75. I didn't see him.
I'd put David on there. I would consider David before Bo. I would consider Logan Stieber.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of those guys.
Yeah.
Like you can't go wrong with any. Like I would never debate any of those guys. Like a lot of it's just
I
you
know.
maybe different reasons.
Dan Gable wrestled in the Big 12, Big 8. All right, I get it now. I get it.
I got Sanderson and Dake.
Oh,
Okay, that's true.
I only have 2 Big Ten guys on.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's it.
That's true.
That's
But I mean,
funny.
Taylor, you could put him on there, and
I think it's got to be something bigger than the mat. And I just feel like David, what he started with KO, he was the first flag carrier, the first guy. He ushered in this bonus point, I say phenomena, like it hasn't been happening. But
Sure.
like, you just didn't see guys bonusing. At that time in wrestling, you were not seeing guys bonus their way to the finals and do the things they did. And it was unthinkable that a team could have 2, Ed Ruth and David Taylor.
Yes.
And it felt like David was that guy, even though he only won 2, undefeated freshman year till he lost, what he did his sophomore year, and then he loses to a Mount Rushmore guy,
Yep.
you know, and then goes out, I don't know. Bros could literally just sit around and talk about this.
I mean, those guys are all so good. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean,
Who's
yeah,
on your Mount
Logan
Rushmore?
Stieber was a hammer.
I don't know.
Really good.
You get 5.
I would have Kale, and then I'd have a lot of tough thoughts. I don't know.
A lot of tough thoughts.
I mean, Dan Gable, like you just said, beyond the mat. I mean, he's such a legend. What he's done for this sport.
You've got the most iconic coach in the sport. I mean, this guy is not a famous wrestling coach. He is like known throughout that entire state. My dad knows nothing about wrestling.
Knows Dan
He
Gable.
knows Dan Gable.
Is that
He
25
said-
Big Ten titles?
he used to-
25?
Yeah, he used to tell me, he's like, this guy
know.
used to mow the lawn wearing a backpack full of bricks. And like, my dad would tell me this. He didn't know anything about wrestling, but it's like, that's how iconic this guy is. Like, he changed wrestling. It's beyond the mat. It's like the broader impact. And you factor in coaching, I mean, John Smith.
Yeah.
You familiar?
Yep.
Six-time. You know, and the coach, you know, he's one of the greatest coaches
Jordan
ever.
Burroughs. I mean,
Jordan
now you expanded.
Now
it.
we're expanding.
Yeah, I mean, what Jordan Burroughs did for U.S., you know, with wrestling in this country
brought-
after a lull,
He brought it back.
he brought it back.
He
and the
gave
fact
hope.
that he's been, 9-10 years in a row where he medaled, like that's insane.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
At that weight class, that's where as good as Gable is, as good as Gable Steveson is, that just the way what do you call it, the bell curve, is that what it is? Like, that's where,
where the
maybe
average man
that's where I
is.
think Kyle Dake is a little, as crazy as this sounds, I think Kyle Dake is somewhat underappreciated. A
little
little,
bit.
I just think he is.
A little bit.
And the big thing about him is, did not redshirt.
Yeah.
He didn't redshirt.
And he's
He
not-
went
Was he like
forward.
one of the gray shirts of Cornell?
No.
No.
He was straight out of high
Straight out.
school.
What he did at those
Respect.
4 weights, the guys he beat, And as a true freshman, if I had to play, I'll tell you this. If I had to play the Kyle Dake is the GOAT college wrestler card, I'd play it.
Okay.
What does that mean? What do you mean, like,
he
if
won
you
it
had
as,
to play that
he
card?
won it as a true freshman. I
So
think
you're saying you would make that argument that he's the GOAT over
I
Kale?
think you could. If you told me right now you thought Kyle Dake was the greatest college wrestler ever, I wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, okay, fine.
Okay.
Like I don't think like some people might be like,
not
no
accept that.
way. Like
I mean, well, why?
didn't red shirts. Didn't
but
red shirt.
that only counts for 1 year. But
Yeah, but
he still lost twice his sophomore year, and then you have to factor in dominance too. Where
he dominated. The
No.
one thing with Kyle Dake is
No.
he was a guy that could absolutely destroy you in a 3-1 match. You can watch Kyle Dake in a 1-point match.
I love
It's like
it.
he's killing
I
him.
love it.
He's
You're
got
making
3 minutes
Christian
of riding
so
time.
mad.
He's going to mad return you. I'll give you this about Kyle Dake, and this is why I'm a huge Kyle Dake fan. I would be broadcasting Dake matches, okay, like here at the tournament, and he's winning. I'm making this up, 4-0 off a restart with 16 seconds. Like a lot of guys, you get lazy there, they escape 4-1, no big deal. Not with him. Bam! Like and we've talked about this. Like he wanted to take away all hope. Like you never would think to yourself, like I got an escape on Kyle. Like I got something to build from. Like no, he destroyed your mentality. And Kyle Dake, like I said, from a dominant standpoint, I get what you're saying. He didn't score a ton of points in comparison to a David Taylor. But Kyle Dake could take your soul in a 4-1 match.
Do you
I think
remember how
Carter
many?
is kind of like that.
Who?
Carter
Yes,
Sirachi.
good. I think it's a fair comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many points he gave up at the 2011 tournament?
Kyle Dake,
Yeah.
I am going to say 0 or 1.
It was 1
Yeah.
point. And
One. Yep.
do you know what the 1 point was?
It was it a locked hands or a caution?
It was a penalty.
Okay,
He
yes.
got a illegal something, some sort of lock on the leg.
And that was his true freshman year.
Sophomore.
Oh, okay.
And look at the guys he beat too.
But here's the thing: going up every weight allows you to get more exposure to beat different guys. Like Kale didn't get that. No one else got to be national champions in Kale's weights because Kale was there. Like 184, he didn't beat national champions because he was there. So like Dake allowed everyone else to get accolades. I'm not saying that's why.
No,
he did,
I get
but you
I
know
get
what
what
I'm
you're saying.
Just
Sure.
like
but it adds, regardless of how you
Absolutely.
position it, it adds to his case.
the one thing I would say to get it's not so much the
yeah, I don't think you can use that as a knock because
Yeah.
it's not a knock. It's not
It's,
a knock.
if anything, it's like a
it's context.
yeah. Okay.
And what I would say is like more than I don't give the big credit for weights that other people do, or I didn't. But then the more I thought about it, it's like 141 to 1, because it's like it's not like he wasn't. People acted like he wasn't 149 and 157.
Yeah.
He was that big. He just sort of anomalous with his growth. But what I will say, where people kind of miss is like the different style you have to have. Watch these 41s. Watch these 65s.
it's
That
different.
is a huge, very different. There's a different level of speed at 41 than 65, and just like there's a different level of physicality at 65 versus 49 or 40. So that's where I think people don't give him enough credit.
Yeah, I
You know what
can't. I could not. I mean, I think Kyle Dake, his college career was.
It's pretty special.
I wouldn't even know how to describe
I mean,
it.
and the freaking every once in a while, especially when the season ends, you think about these things. But like the audacity when you have won 3 national titles to bump up to the Hodge Trophy winners' weight is totally just absurd.
Big
It
Dake
is
energy.
insane.
Big Dake energy personified.
That is big Dake
It is
energy.
crazy.
No question.
Yeah, and they used to like say like, oh yeah, so we can get this guy in the line. Kerber, I think it was Justin Kerber was maybe who it was. Or yeah, we get this guy in the line. I was like, no, dude, you're just a freaking savage.
So are we all agreeing? I mean, is it official right now that
What?
Kyle Dake is the greatest college wrestler of all time?
Cale Sanderson had one season. Now you don't care about scoring for whatever reason, but
No,
Cale,
I do. I do.
Do you think that? Hold
Dude,
on, before you move on to this, do you think that Dake would have stayed at 65 if he lost to David at the All-Star Classic?
Oh yeah,
100%.
dude,
100%.
Even more so. Kyle, dude, Kyle's freaking different.
You want me to give you the best Kyle Dake story ever?
Yes.
And I hesitate to tell these stories, but
Oh boy.
it's not like it's that. This story to me is what I always had my perception of Kyle Dake, but I never really got to spend any time with him. I don't remember the year, but it was that American Wrestling League draft. It was in Iowa. Dake was a captain, and Taylor was a captain. Okay, and I was doing something. I don't even remember it. But here's what I do remember. I was involved in something. Here's what I remember. Like, they're friends. Right? I mean, those guys are good friends.
Extremely close.
So, if let's say you and I wrestled 10 years ago in a national final. We're both studs. We're friends. We had this great rivalry, but I won.
Yeah.
Okay? The reality is, I personally, we probably never talk about it.
Yeah.
And I have no idea if they've talked about it ever. I have no idea. But here's what I remember. If I want to make sure I'm getting this story right, and I think I saw what I saw. We go down in the lobby. Dake, Taylor, and I are meeting in the lobby to go drive over. And if I remember right, Dake had like on a belt buckle that said like 4-time national champ or the year that he won it. It was just the most subtle. It was talk about dad's home. Like, it was the most subtle. Like, we're not like, everybody knows I'm the guy. Like, he is still, in my experiences, he is the biggest. I don't know if biggest is the right word. He's the alpha male of alpha males.
Okay.
And that's why, if you can't tell, slight man crush on Kyle Dake.
Evidently. Well, you guys had that same haircut for a while there.
Yeah.
Dake used to have that haircut.
That college career he had. I mean, I remember. Was it here when he
Molinaro.
with Molinaro with what 4.5 minutes of riding time?
Oh, more than that.
I mean,
it was over 6.
Gosh, I don't remember. I just know it was a lot. And look at Molinaro. What, 4-time All-American?
He won national
champ.
He won
like,
that year.
Yeah, I mean, who did? St. John was a stud. Marion was a stud.
Champ.
Taylor, like the guys he beat. Like I said, how this whole conversation started. If I had to play hey, you got to prove to me Kyle Dake is the greatest college wrestler ever, I could play the card. And you might not agree with me, and that's fine, but you'd never be like, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Like, you wouldn't say that. It's kind of like, oh, on your Mount Rushmore, you have all those guys he mentioned. Like, I could never be like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, no, these guys are really, really
good. The
good.
crazy thing is, Tyler's always telling me the only reason Dake won as a freshman is Kellen Russell redshirted that year. He always is saying that. He's like, bro.
I didn't even know that happened.
He's like, fake national champ. I'm like, well, I mean, he was pretty good. He beat Reese Humphrey. He's like, doesn't matter. It's like, Kellen's beating him. Blair ride all day. So, just interesting that comes
4
up.
different weights. The guys he beat. The dominance, maybe not from a points perspective.
No, he's
incredible.
Good. He's good. Okay. What other things should we talk about the tournament that's about to happen?
Well, anything you want to run by Shane that you've run by us before?
What do you think? What do you think of some of the things I've run out?
You know, I don't know. I have no.
Well, I don't know.
Thoughts.
You know, Shane acts like he doesn't like to give predictions. This guy gives more predictions than anyone. He just can't do it on the record.
I just don't know because I hate being wrong. I hate being wrong.
Well,
and I just don't know enough about. I mean, I've always said this before. Relationships, the weight cut. I mean, if I was a college kid and I got an assignment in October and they're like, hey, this is due in February, due in March, I'm sure I would have waited until this week.
Yeah.
And now, I'm not sleeping right. Like all those little things. To be at max capacity to win this tournament, I will say this, and we've probably talked about this on FRL before. To win a Division I national title, I understand. You've heard this before.
You know what he's going to say.
You know what I'm going to say?
I know.
I understand by pure definition, it's not 100%, but it's so close where I can make the statements and it's like, oh, close enough. It's impossible. To win a Division I national tournament is impossible.
It's such a preposterous statement. There's no response possible. I've tried to. So you may be like, well,
I agree with him.
You may be thinking,
I agree with
push
him.
back here. The only year it was impossible was 2020.
Yes.
There
you go.
Salt in the wound.
Yeah.
Salt
No,
in the
it's
wound.
not. This is healing. This is healing.
I cannot imagine wrestling in this tournament. I mean, the fact that you qualified for this, Tyler, all jokes aside,
Thanks,
like, you know how good you are at wrestling? Hey, this is
crazy.
You know what you call the top 33 people at what they do in life?
What?
Multi-millionaires. If you're the top 33 in your field, you're a multi-millionaire.
Yes.
Yeah.
To make this tournament is an incredible accomplishment. Maybe 10 years ago, I didn't appreciate it. to make this tournament is incredible. To get on that stand is insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And to be the last
impossible.
man standing.
It's impossible.
It's
So
literally
much,
not possible.
guys, it's kind of like this. Like when you look at technology,
Uh-huh.
it's like one little thing, one little cord not in the right place. We're done.
Done.
System shut down.
Everything's got to work out here. Like, everything's got to work out. I hate the word luck. I hate the word luck.
Although, man,
But
I
you
don't
need
know.
a little bit of good fortune.
Listen,
Like, I
how
get
much
it.
good fortune Carter Strachey have last year? Rolling out there with a bum wheel. How much good fortune did Jordan Burroughs have when he wrestled with a broken ankle?
That's my point.
What? Well,
That's how hard it is to win this thing. Like, everything has to go right. Not to mention, guys, even think about this.
Some people need luck. Some people don't.
Just maybe, I mean,
yeah,
there's
I don't know.
you
Yeah,
might get a little bit of good fortune, but-
I think it diminishes the winners. I think it's.
Oh, I hate the word luck. I mean, I hate it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
That's why I
saying
said
luck.
he-
The only
yeah.
one saying luck's you. I'm not saying luck. I think the best guys are winning.
The toughest guy wins this tournament. The toughest guy wins.
Yeah. Who's
On
the
that day.
softest NCAA champion you can remember?
Yeah, that's good. That'd be funny.
Who's the one
Who's
you watch?
the
You're like,
softest
"What's
guy?
up, dude?"
Like, how did this guy win? Because I'll give you this. I'll tell you this, and I'll keep this really clean
Oh,
for FRL purposes.
thank you.
The Last Boy Scout. We talk about movies. I know we've talked about Roadhouse a bunch. The Last Boy Scout. Okay. For those of you that have seen The Last Boy Scout, there's a great scene in the beginning
Never heard of this
where
movie.
Bruce Willis. You know what scene of this is?
I've never
He
heard
hasn't
this
seen it.
movie.
Bruce Willis. It's a great movie.
Okay.
Bruce Willis is a police officer, and he comes home, or he's a detective. He comes home, and he notices quickly, like, somebody's in the closet.
Okay.
So he looks at his wife. He says, "Hey, who's in the closet?" "Oh, nobody." I think he basically says, "You got a few seconds, or I'm
Gonna
gonna
shoot
unload
the
on the
closet.
Next thing you know, his buddy comes out of the closet.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's where Bruce Willis goes, "Hey, no big deal. I get it. You tripped, and this happened. Like, that doesn't happen because you trip, and that doesn't happen that way, okay?
Well, how is this connected?
So just like this.
Okay.
You don't trip. You don't trip
Okay.
on an NCAA division. This stuff does not just happen.
Yes.
Like, oh, he just had a couple of good days. Like, give me a break. To stand atop the podium at this, you're
it's
a
life
bad
of,
dude.
It's a life of work. too.
Yeah, it is.
It's crazy.
And the discipline,
Yeah.
you can't imagine it.
I feel like I get new appreciation for wrestling all the time somehow, even though it's been my favorite sport for so long. But like something at the Pac-12s, I'm watching. These are the last place wrestlers in the wrestling each other in a conference. It's not a traditional. I'm like, these dudes are so good.
They're phenomenal.
I'm like, this guy is so.
And that's
good.
why I'd always get.
And then you look at the wrestle stats, like this dude is 3 and 30.
Yep. And he's really good. It's kind of like I've always said this. I always give baseball analogies. The worst guy in the Major League Baseball team who's hitting, 220. If you're supposed to hit a fastball
Probably on
here,
the Braves.
pitch it here. See what happens. He'll show you how bad he is. I mean, you nailed it, Christian. Guys, I always tell people every weekend I do wrestling matches, and I talk about 3-time state champs getting smoked.
Smoked.
I never won a state title. I thought I was okay. I didn't win a state title. Like, these guys are winning 2 or 3. They're really, really good.
I got a question for you, Shane. What do you think? Me and Christian have talked about this. I want to know what you think. What weight do you think is the deepest?
Wow, the deepest weight class.
I think this year, I'll say this, and I'll let you go because I've already thought about this. I think it's 133.
I would agree. That's when you asked me the question, that's where I went 133. Bouzakis is 133. Again, to play that card, Bouzakis and Arini in the first round.
Yes. Orini's 26.
He's a
not,
26.
He's not been that bad this year. He just hasn't quite got the wins.
I'll
to
give you a prediction. I'll give you one.
Oh!
Kai Arini, All-American.
That'd be awesome.
There you go.
I wouldn't rule it out. You look at even it goes really deep. Like Tyler Knox is the 13. Beat Drake Ayala and Seth Romney this year.
Absolutely.
There are so many good.
Yes.
Dylan Shawver's the 10.
Yes.
Big Ten champ. Braden Davis, 8. Big Ten champ. Braxton Brown's a bad boy.
Yes, he
You've watched
is.
it. He's
Bad boy.
He's very
He's
good.
a bad boy for life.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Those Terps are tough.
Yeah, I would agree. 133.
I think so.
On the bottom half of the bracket, right, Ayala's got Noto. Right?
Round 2.
Round 2.
Yep.
Yeah, 133 is the deepest weight.
It's crazy. It's a weight if you're looking for
What weight
KO.
could you even put up against it?
What's that?
Like, what weight could you even put up against it? Like 41, 49? Like,
41, I think could 40, but 41 is honestly it's 8. If you look at 141, all those guys, that top 8 have only lost to each other with 2 exceptions. Kill Happel lost 1 time to Julian Tagg, and Tegan Jameson lost to Frost. 7 lost to 9. Other than that, it's all contained within that top 8. So unlike 133, where everyone's kind of beat, 13 beat 4 and, beat 2, it's not really like that at 141.
It's like 125 last year, 133 this year, 141 next year maybe. Just keep moving up the ladder.
141 does 141 have the most guys that I think could reasonably win a national title? I think it could be. Because I could realistically say
Hardy, Bartlett, Mendez,
Alirez
for sure.
Kale Happel.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that may be.
I wonder who's going to be the guy that in 2 nights from tonight is a household name that people are not all over right now. There's going to be 1 or 2, who knows how many.
Yeah.
But I always love those stories.
That's the best
like,
part.
Who is able to figure it out, get it done.
It's really the best part of you think about he still remembers David Terrell, 2018.
David
It's like
Terrell.
no one was talking about David Terrell, really. I mean,
I think I saw Terrell and Gilman out in the parking lot scrapping it.
Oh, that was Josh. That was Josh. That would have been Josh.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Josh Terrell.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was always good.
Classic
Gilman
Gilman.
was always good for some
Were you
great
on the call when he came back against Lezak?
I was not. That was Super Bowl Sunday, I believe. I think it
Okay.
was. I believe. Don't quote me on that. That was Tim and Jim did that match. I remember watching it in my living room.
Crazy.
But yeah, when he fell behind early and came back and got it done.
Gassed him from bottom.
That was a great match. Gilman was tough.
Yeah.
Gilman was tough.
Awesome.
Still is.
Well, cool.
Still is.
yeah.
Well, this has been awesome.
Lineup
Shane,
legends.
Lineup legends.
Lineup legends.
This is your last opportunity to submit your 10 NCAA champ picks because you won't be able to submit them as soon as the first whistle blows tomorrow, which is Thursday. Today's Wednesday. So if you want your chance at the easiest $10,000 you could possibly ever make.
Yeah.
It's like taking candy from a baby.
100%.
It's so easy. All you have to know is who's going to win all the weights.
Especially great wrestling genius minds like us. I mean, come on.
Shane, you can enter this, and no one's going to know. It'll be anonymous.
It's not gambling. It's a sweepstakes. If you have eligibility, you can enter. Anyone can do this. It really is just an awesome opportunity.
I'll tell you what is difficult to do. Very tough is calling wrestling matches when you have a horse in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you gotta call it the way it is, and deep down you're just like, get out from on bottom. But
he really should get hand control.
Yeah,
he should not go under. This guy's tilt is unbelievable.
This is going to be a great tournament. This is going to be a great tournament.
I'm with you,
looking
Shane.
forward to watching this thing shake out. But always good to see you guys.
Great. This is impromptu. We didn't know Shane was going to be on. Cosmic Energy made this happen. It's funny. I got a text this morning. I haven't told y'all this. Someone said, y'all got to get Shane back on. He was awesome. And as luck would have it,
here we are.
Here he is.
Yeah, I always like coming out with you guys.
Come on back again.
Good time.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Lineup Legends. Be watching wrestling, FloWrestling. We're going to have a ton of coverage, start to finish. For Tyler and Shane, I'm Christian Pyle. See you next time. Goodbye.